Welcome back, my dear students and my dear viewers. We are in progress with the discussion on the subject business regulations of third semester BBA. And we are in progress in the chapter Sale of Goods Act 1930. The previous session of this chapter, we had discussed about the essentials of a valid contract of sale and also the important characteristics of the contract of sale, which was mentioned in the definition under section 4 of the act. Now in this session we will have a discussion. We will discuss about certain important aspects of the sale of goods, stipulations, conditions, and warranties. Because these aspects are very much important to be understood, to be known, because conditions and warranties are essential to build the confidence between the buyer and the seller. They are essential to win the trust of the buyer and also to have a trust over the goods to be purchased. So terms and conditions gives a kind of picture for the buyer for his or her buying decision. Now let us discuss about the terms and conditions and warranties. Conditions and warranties. A contract of sale is entered into with some terms and representations agreed by both seller and the buyer. And these terms and representations form constitute a part of the contract of sale. And these terms and representations are called stipulations. So stipulations are nothing but the terms and representations agreed by both seller and the buyer. And the stipulation may be in the form of a condition or a warranty. So a stipulation may take the form of a condition or a warranty. Whether a stipulation is a condition or a warranty is a subject matter of substance rather than the form of words used. So depending upon the circumstance, depending upon the nature of goods, the same stipulation may take place, may take the form of a condition or a warranty. So in this slide, you must have understood what are the conditions and what are the warranties and what do you mean by stipulations. So let us know the differences between condition and warranty. Condition, it is essential to the main purpose of the contract. It is essential, it is a part of the main purpose of the contract, whereas a warranty is only a collateral to the main purpose of the contract. Collateral means supporting in relation to the main purpose of the contract. Then in case of condition, the aggrieved party can terminate the contract. In case of condition, the aggrieved party, the party who has suffered a loss due to the non-performance or due to some other reason from the other person, if a party has the aggrieved party, the party who has suffered can terminate the contract, can cancel the contract. And in case of warranty, when the goods are subject to the warranty, then the aggrieved person can only claim for the damages. Only damages can be claimed but cannot terminate the contract. So here, in case of condition, contract itself can be terminated, but in case of warranty, contract cannot be terminated, but claim for the damages. Damages can be claimed. Then, a breach of condition. A breach of condition can be treated as a breach of warranty. Means when a condition is breached, automatically it leads to the breach of warranty. Whereas in case of warranty, a breach of warranty cannot be treated as a breach of condition. Okay, so a breach of condition also leads to the breach of warranty, whereas a breach of warranty does not lead to the breach of condition, because the first point says condition is relating to the main purpose of the contract, whereas warranty is collateral to the main purpose of the contract. Then the fourth difference, breach of condition affects legality of the contract. Legality of contract. Since it is essential to the main purpose of the contract, any breach of condition affects or damages the legality of contract. Then the breach of warranty will not affect the legality of contract. Means the legality, the status of the legality of the contract will continue to exist even if the warranty is breached. But whereas if condition is breached, then the legality of the contract itself is damaged. Then the existence of contract will be in danger. Then we have express and implied conditions and warranties. Express condition, implied condition, express warranties and implied warranties. Then express conditions and express warranties are expressly mentioned and prescribed in the contract. So they are specifically, they are clearly mentioned in the contract, express. So either through the spoken words or through the written words, the express conditions and express warranties are prescribed in the contract, mentioned in the contract. Whereas implied conditions and implied warranties, though not expressly mentioned in the contract but implied by law in every contract of sale of goods, unless a contrary intention emerge from the terms of the contract. There are implied conditions and implied warranties are, we can say, there are certain standard assumptions. There are certain pre-decided, pre-decided, predetermined assumptions based on which these conditions and warranties are based. So such terms, such conditions and warranties are known as implied conditions and implied warranties, because here it is clearly mentioned implied by law in every contract of sale of goods, unless a contrary intention emerge from the terms of the contract. If the parties have their own any definition, any explanation to some concepts, then they, according to their explanation, according to their understanding, these conditions and warranties will be understood. In the absence of any contrary intention of the parties, then they will be considered as predetermined by law. So they are the standard conditions and warranties. Then implied conditions are as follows. Implied conditions. Condition as to title. Condition as to title. Title of the goods. Title of the goods to be transferred from seller to the buyer. Then sale by description. Sale by description. Whatever the goods are to be sold, the detailed description must have been explained, must have been mentioned to the buyer. Then sale by sample. Sale by sample. So giving away the sample, showing the demonstration, showing the description of the goods, uh, giving the picture of the goods must have been sold, the contract must have been taken place. Then condition as to quality or fitness of goods. At the time of selling, at the time of buying, the condition and the quality of goods also comes under the implied condition. Means the seller must sell the quality goods, must also assure about the fitness of the goods, and at the same time buyer must also have verified the quality of the goods and the fitness of the goods. Then condition as to merchantable quality. The goods must be saleable. The goods must be saleable. As I told earlier, seller must also ensure that he is selling the quality goods. He is selling the goods which are fit to be sold. So condition as to merchantable quality. Then condition as to wholesomeness. Wholesomeness. When the goods cannot be separated, cannot be divided, in case of undivisible goods, this condition is applicable. If a building is purchased, let us not discuss it is an immovable property. When shares are being purchased, it will be assumed that the shares are fully paid. Fully paid. Unless and until any contrary intentions emerge from these parties, then the case is different. So here, the assumption is that the condition about the wholesomeness of the goods. Then condition implied by custom, customs, practices, depending upon that also the condition is implied. Some conditions, certain conditions are implied. Then implied warranties are as follows. Warranty as to quiet possession of goods by the buyer. Because here sale itself states that there must be transfer of property to the buyer. So warranty also prescribe, warranty also stipulates the possession of goods by the buyer. Then warranty of freedom of goods from encumbrances or any charge by any third party. Whatever the goods are being purchased by the buyer must be free from the claims of any other third person, any other third party. So the goods which are purchased must be free from any kind of claim. The buyer must be the whole and sole owner of the goods. He has the full rights and powers over the enjoyment of the goods he has purchased. So there should not be any claim from anybody else. Then warranty as to quality or fitness of goods for particular purpose of the buyer of such goods. So depending upon the nature of goods, depending upon the usage of the goods, this warranty holds good. So the buyer must verify the purpose for which he is purchasing the goods. Then warranty to disclose or warn the buyer of any probable danger in case of goods of dangerous nature. So it is the responsibility of the seller to give a caution, to give a warning, to disclose, to reveal the fact about the probable danger of the goods. In case of electrical goods, in case of uh, uh, goods, in case of products, articles which are used in the kitchen or in the other places, then such dangers are associated, and seller must give warning to the buyer about the probable danger. So, my dear students, I hope you might have understood about condition and warranties, implied condition, implied warranty, then implied express condition and express warranty. Thank you so much. Thank you all.